Do you sometimes think that your mother is weird? And you think that other mothers cannot be worse than yours? Well, then you haven't met Mateo's mother yet. Because as it turns out, there is such a thing as too much motherly love. And the movie La Piedad is highlighting just that. If you want to find out more about this movie, then join me for this quick review video. Libertad is a loving mother. She loves her son Mateo above all, and she would do anything for him. She would even die for him if she could. That big is her love for her son. Whatever he needs, he is getting. Wherever he goes, she's going too. You could almost call her the perfect mother, but there is one problem. Mateo is already way into his 20s, and she still is not letting go. Mateo, on the other hand, is struggling with the wish of finally standing on his own feet. But due to his upbringing, he is just not managing well. Every attempt to get away from his mother just ultimately leads him back to her. Something for which Libertad is very thankful, because her greatest fear would be him moving out. She even does her best to make sure that Mateo has no contact to his biological father. Though, as we learn, the father would actually be interested. Libertad's obsession goes so far that when Mateo is developing a serious illness, she almost felt left out because she doesn't have the same sickness and cannot even find a way to share the pain. But this also makes Mateo completely dependent on his mother again, in which of course his mother sees a positive side. For the first time in quite a while, this gives her complete control about Mateo again. So, as his health is slowly getting better, she has to battle temptation not to counteract his remission. While the main story is going on, we also see a couple from North Korea who has to deal with the fact that their country has betrayed them, forcing them to flee to South Korea, where their life doesn't turn out to be better than before. Let me first say, do not watch the trailer of this movie. Because after seeing the trailer, I thought we would get a movie that really doesn't have much of a story. It appeared to be just a collection of abstract scenes and of surreal images. Something that reminded me of the movie Subconscious Cruelty. A movie that, if you can find it, I advise you not to watch, because it is really terrible. So I was going into this movie expecting something along those lines. But fortunately I was wrong with that assessment. What we get in this Spanish-Argentinian co-production called La Piedad, which, for reasons that are beyond me, is carrying the title La Pietà as its official international English language title. What we get is pretty much a very straightforward and linear story that is just intercut with the scenes of the North Korean couple I talked about. The imagery of this movie, though, is looking very artificial, and this is by design, because writer-director Eduardo Casanova made some very interesting artistical choices when it comes to his visuals. Most prominently that most of the art direction is designed in pink, which includes the complete interior of the main protagonist's apartment, where most of the movie takes place. This is, according to an interview with Casanova, due to two reasons. First of all, he likes the color pink, but also at the same time hates it because it stands for everything that is weird about his past and constantly reminds him of weird things. So this is why he also painted the whole movie in pink, so that everything feels a little bit out of place and a little bit strange. To which I can say that pretty much works well. And it also gives the whole movie some bubblegum feeling, like overly sweet. Something that reflects how Libertad is acting towards her son, with way too much affection that tastes disgusting after a while. Though at the core of her heart, she means good. Of course, it still remains a complete unhealthy relationship that Mateo really should get out. This is why the movie compares the relationship between Mateo and his mother, from which he cannot get away, to the dictatorship in North Korea, where the government also has complete control about their citizens. Though this comparison is pretty much on the nose, the movie still gives you food for thoughts in other regards. Because the main theme here is to think about how much love is too much and finding the point where to let go. What really is interesting to think about though is how you see Libertad. Is she the villain or is she just a loving mother? And when she turned from one to the other? It's also about the fear of losing something and by holding on too strong, pushing it away, which is one of those things in life that is so counterintuitive. The movie is doing a really great job on showcasing this prison-like setup that Mateo has to live in, even though for some people this might look like paradise. The great Ángela Molina is doing a great job in the lead role as Libertad, and Manel Llunell also does a great job as Mateo, which is good to know because they are basically the main characters and you see them most of the time. There are only a few other roles in this movie and they are quite small, with his father and his new wife being the two larger ones. And just as a heads up, the fantastic Macarena Gómez also has a small but very funny and interesting part in this movie. So if you like her, make sure to watch it just for her. But you don't have to do it just for her, because the movie is actually quite good and very much the opposite of what I have expected going into it. And this already brings us to the rating. But before we go there, let me ask you to like and share this video if you enjoyed it so far. And if you are no subscriber yet, maybe consider to change that. By also hitting the notification bell, you will get a heads up for most of my new videos. And now for the rating. So, as you could already hear, the movie clearly was not the turd I expected. It turned out to be a very decent movie that did a great job in entertaining me for its short run of a little bit over 80 minutes. It was well acted and visually compelling, so I was thinking to score it either with 7 or 8 points. Yet I struggled a bit to decide which way to go here. Usually I would take the easy way out and just say, okay, let's jump in the middle and go with 7.5. But sometimes you need to follow your gut, and here for some reasons I think that 7 points is a fair fit. So let's go with that. Sometimes you just have to follow your gut. So what about you? Are you interested in seeing this movie? And maybe even on a personal level, do you feel compelled to see it due to your relationship to your mother? Was your mother the same or quite the opposite? Would you have loved a mother like Libertad? Or are you happy that you haven't had one of those? If you like to share, then do so in the comments. But of course, only if you feel comfortable. From personal experience, I know that mothers are a touchy subject. That is why I didn't dive deeper into that topic myself. So I understand if you don't want to share. But if you do, maybe I feel compelled to do the same. But so much for now. See you next time and thanks for watching.